Hey guys, and thank you for joining. This is Criminality Online, and I'm your host, Crime Dame. Um, we're just going to come together tonight to talk about some of the big stories that went on earlier in the week. And of course, one of those stories is the Kyle Rittenhouse case, which he was found not guilty on all charges. So that's one of the cases that we're going to be talking about tonight. And also, there's the ongoing case. The case has come to a rest in the Ahmaud Arbery case, and hopefully, we will get a verdict sometimes early next week. And another big story that happened this week was the unfortunate fatality of Young Dolph in Memphis. So those are going to be the stories that we will be talking about tonight. So I hope that you all can come in and join and discuss those with me. And I'm going to take a brief break and we're going to come back and talk about those stories. All right, guys, and we're back. So let's get into the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So that case lasted, I think it was about 3 weeks that case went on. And one of the big things in that particular case was Kyle actually taking the stand in his own defense. And a lot of people did not believe that his attorneys would put him on on the witness stand, but they did, and he went on to say that he was acting in self-defense. And as it turns out, that since he was found not guilty, that's pretty much, I guess, what his attorneys tried to purvey to us, and apparently that's what the jury decided as well. I know at one point the prosecutor said that he was chased by the people that he ended up shooting, and that after he chased them, I'm sorry, that he said that he chased the people that he ended up shooting. But that was not true, as we saw in the video, that he was the one that was being chased. So I think that is one of the big testimonies by the prosecutor that kind of swayed the jury, because he outright, just outright lied and said that he was chasing them, which was not the case. So I think that had a lot to do with the jury making their decision as well, because the prosecutor said that he was the one who was chasing them, which is not true. So I think that pretty much helped in the jury making their decision. So I just like to hear what a lot of other people have to say about that. It seems, according to social media, that a lot of people feel that Kyle was shown preferential treatment, which I agree with that, because this is the first time that I've watched many cases on television, and this is the first time that I ever saw the judge actually, sit around with the the person who was accused of these charges sit around watching videos with them, like there's like, he's an old grandfather sitting around watching Disney movies with his kids. And that was just kind of weird to me, something that I've never seen before. And also, at the end, when he had to pick the jurors from a box, like he was picking, a name out of a box for Secret Santa at your job, or when your family gets together to pick Secret Santa. That's kind of what it reminded me of. I had never seen that done before either. So those two things were something that was kind of different from me seeing, and especially with a major high profile case like this one. As we know, that this all started after the protests last year, um, after the shooting, after a shooting, and after the shooting of Jacob Blake. Um, so Kyle was allegedly there to protect some of the businesses from being looted or damaged. Like in some of the cases that we saw, even here in Atlanta, there were a lot of businesses that were vandalized and set afire after the protests during last year as well. So allegedly, that's what Kyle was there for, to protect those businesses from being looted. He wasn't even a resident of that state. He came from Illinois, and he was driven there by his mom and dropped off. And at that time, he was only 17 years old, and so allegedly he was not supposed to be in possession of a gun because he was underage. But also a major part of the case, that the judge um, let everyone know that it was not illegal for him to have that weapon. So the judge, I guess, proved that that was false, that he was not in violation of having that weapon because he was underage. So he was driven there by his mom and dropped off, and he was supposed to be, I guess, protecting some of the business there, like I said earlier. And he also said that he was a medic, that he had medic training. And we found out that that was not true, that he did not have medic training, that he did not have medic training. So, a young man with a gun, and I guess, like I witness it here in certain stores where Georgia is an open carry state. You see people in the grocery store and Walmart or whatever walking around with their gun on their hip. And you can just kind of tell and get the feeling that from these particular people that they're not really badasses like they portray. But it's like once they have a weapon that they can legally carry in public, that they get this certain bravado about themselves. And that's the vibe I got from from Kyle, that he was just this young kid, and he's this young kid, that, I don't know, young scary kid, and I have this big gun, so that makes me a badass, so to speak. And that's kind of the vibe that I got from him. um so he's just walking around the streets with his gun, and he got into an altercation with certain people, and he ended up taking two lives and injuring one individual very badly. I don't think he will um, have use of his arm after being shot by Kyle, because if you've seen the pictures online, um, it was like a big chunk of his arm that was shot out. I mean, you can imagine with that type of weapon, the type of damage that it would cause. So there was like a huge chunk of his arm that was shot out. So I'm not sure if he will even be able to use that arm again. But that's kind of what happened with that. So that's one of the major cases that happened, with Kyle being found not guilty. And I would just like to know what you guys think about that. So if you watch the show and the replay, just kind of leave a comment onto your thoughts on how you feel about Kyle being found not guilty. And do you think it was a fair decision on the juror's part, or do you think that he should have been found guilty on all charges, or do you think that he should at least been found guilty on um, the first victim that he ended up shooting? So I would just like to know what you guys think about that. And also, another major story that's still going on in the courts. They had those both cases, Kyle Rittenhouse case and the trial of Ahmaud Arbery. Those cases both going on at the same time. So in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, the attorney for Roddy Bryan, he made a statement saying that was heard around the world, saying that he didn't want any more black pastors to show up in court. He specifically called out Jesse Jackson by name, and at that time Jesse was not even in the court. Al Sharpton was there in court, so he called out Al Sharpton, and he also called out Jesse Jackson. So that was sort of like a call to all pastors all over the United States and the world, so to speak, that, you said you don't want any more black pastors in the courtroom, but that didn't mean anything that we can't be outside the courtroom. So there were several pastors who showed up outside the courtroom in Brunswick, Georgia, to show support for the Arbery family. And it was very powerful. They got together, they prayed together and everything, and it was very powerful. And of course, this did not sit well with um, Attorney Golf as well. And of course, he had to make a statement about that. So that was one of the major, I guess, stories in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Another major event in the case is that one of the shooters in the case, who fatally wounded Ahmaud Arbery, the son, he took the witness stand to in his own defense, and it didn't really look good for him, um, because the prosecutor pretty much got him to say that Ahmaud Arbery did not say anything to him when he told him to pull over. He did not say anything to him, and he said he was asking him questions, and Ahmaud never answered any of his questions. And every time he would get closer to him, he would deliberately try to avoid him. So he, so Travis, all the questions that Travis was asking him, he never answered any of the questions. And the prosecutor pretty much got him to admit that he did not answer any of his questions, which, would mean that, and she also asked him, so why didn't you just turn around and leave? And he said, well, yeah, I could have turned around and leave, but he did not, which shows that he kept pursuing him after he showed interest and, like, I don't want to talk to you, just leave me alone. And he kept pursuing him. And then he tried to make it seem like he feared for his life because he said that he grabbed his weapon. Well, sir, if you did not continue to pursue him, he could not have grabbed your weapon. Like the prosecutor said, you had every chance to just turn around and leave, and you did not take those chances. You kept pursuing him after he deliberately tried to avoid you, and to let you know that I don't have to answer your questions. You are not the authorities. I do not have to stop. I'm not being detained. I'm not under arrest. I do not have to answer any of your questions. And he continued to chase you away, and you kept pursuing him. So that was a major issue as well, and I don't think that made him look very, very good in the jurors' eyes. So I think, just like in the case with Kyle, where they pretty much, I guess, came down to that he was running to try to get away from the people that he ended up shooting. That's kind of the same thing that I think is going to happen in this case as well. That, it shows that Ahmaud tried to get away from you and you kept pursuing him, and that if he did try to grab your weapon, you would not have been in that situation, sir, Mr. McMichael, if you did not continue to pursue him, which you should have just turned your truck around and just left, or waited for the authorities to get there and do their job, because that's what they get paid to do, to pull people over and ask them questions. But you did not do that. So I think that that's what's going to come down to in this case. And another big major story is the story about Young Dolph, who is a rapper from Memphis. And he was kind of a neighborhood, I guess, hero, so to speak. He always gave back to the community. And I think he was due Friday, which was yesterday, to pass out turkeys to some of the people in the neighborhood who could not afford, you know, to have turkeys and things for the Thanksgiving dinner. So he was always, making himself available in the community. And he was at his favorite cookie store going to get cookies, and just the day before he did a video saying that how good those cookies were, and so on and so on. And I think he had a very excuse me, a very recognizable vehicle. His vehicle was covered in camouflage, and that kind of stood out. So that made him, like I said, made his car very visible. And it's just so sad, just like every time I hear another story about a young black man being shot in the street like that, when he's, tries to make himself available to his people. We complain sometimes as consumers or as fans that, that sometimes the celebrities, they try to act like they're larger than life, or bigger than God, or so to speak. We complain about that. But when they do show that they are human, and they're just trying to have a regular life, then we're not happy with that as well. And I think that that's a plus and a minus, because he wants to, have somewhat of a normal life, instead of just being followed all the time by paparazzi and a bunch of security. But that also, I think, makes them a target, because people know that they, kind of very accessible, and that they just go about their lives. They may go out and pull up, pick up their own dry cleaning and do things like that. For example, I live in Atlanta, and it's not unusual at all for you to maybe go to a grocery store, or maybe go to a mall, and you may see a big name celebrity just, going out to get ice cream, going out to pick up their own dry cleaning, going to drop their car off to be serviced. And Ti does things like that all the time. I'm not even talking about all the legal woes that he had earlier this year. I'm not. I don't. I'm not going to even get into that right now. But Ti is well known for doing things in community. Every year for back to school, he passes out backpacks to the kids full of school supplies. He does that every year. Every year he passes out turkeys, to the people who cannot afford a Thanksgiving dinner. And every year he would go to Walmart. He would just pop up at a Walmart somewhere in Atlanta. Sometimes he would do it 2 or 3 times a day. Just go to different Walmarts all over the city, and just go to the layaway department. Which, side note, by the way, Walmart doesn't have layaway anymore. So, but he would just, pop up, and he just would go back to the layaway department, and ask, any of the parents, how much is your layaway? And he would just pay off their layaway for Christmas. And there, I don't know how many celebrities that you can say who does that. So he does a lot in the community. Tyler Perry does a lot for the Atlanta community. Sometimes when people pass, if they can't afford to pay for their funerals, Tyler Perry will pay for their funerals. I remember there was one incident where a lady, she was a disabled lady, and she had a special disabled van, and someone stole her van, and Tyler Perry bought her a new van. So there's certain celebrities who do a lot to help their community, and we need to take care of our celebrities like that, and and try more to protect them instead of trying to hurt them. So it's a real tragedy that Young Dolph had to succumb to them, and I guarantee you that when they find who these people are, which I think they had video surveillance showing some of the people who pursued him, that they're going to be your cousins. And when I say your cousins, I don't mean like your blood cousins. I mean like people of color, black people. So your own people who, instead of trying to support you, they want to be the ones to hurt you. So I guarantee you, these are going to be people of color. And like I said, it's just a travesty that we don't try to protect our celebrities more. And instead of trying to do things to hurt them, out of if it's out of jealousy or envy or whatever, we should try more to support them. And if you see them out in the street, just out getting some cookies or just chilling with their family, if they're the type that don't mind signing autographs, just get your autograph and just keep it moving. Don't try to track them down and get their address and do all this kind of foolishness. Just get your autograph or just say, hey, I love your work or whatever, and just keep it moving. They want to live. And it's so sad that a lot of these celebrities are not even seeing their 30th birthday, their 20th birthday, their 40th birthday. They're not living to be old celebrities like some of the people that we think of, like let's say, I don't know, let's say someone maybe like Patti LaBelle or somebody like that, or Gladys Knight, those people that are in their 70s. These young people nowadays, like these young rappers and actors, they're not living that long. And it's just so sad to me, and it just breaks my heart every time I see another one of these celebrities who um, just ends up, meeting that type of fate. It really does. And I just, like I said, I just wish that we cherished our celebrities more than we do. So those were just some of the major stories that happened in the news that I, wanted to talk about. And I just wanted to know what you guys thought about those cases. And you know, like I said, if you see this on the restream, just write in the comments what you guys think about these cases, because these were, I guess, the three major cases that happened this past week. And I just wanted to just come on here to kind of discuss those and just, get people's opinions as to how you guys feel about that. And also in the Young Dolph case, there was a Crime Stoppers number for people to call if you wanted to, I guess, give an anonymous call to someone to, if you saw something, which this happened in broad daylight. So I'm sure that if the video cameras did not, catch this, that there's also should be some people who saw this because it happened during the day. And if this can happen during the day, you can imagine what someone would do in the shield of the night. So if you so let me get the Crime Stopper number. I thought I had it written down here. I just want to make sure that I have the correct number before I give it to you guys. Okay, so let me put the number up. Okay, so this is the number to the Memphis Crime Stoppers. If you have any information about the Young Dolph case, and we need to. I know it's been kind of like the culture in the Black community and people of color that if we see something, we don't say something, but we need to kind of get away from that. And because if it was one of your loved ones, you will want someone to say something and, you know, talk to the authorities to let them know what happened, or what you saw, or what you heard, or what you've been hearing on the street. And sometimes on when incidents like this, the people who are involved, they do talk, and they talk amongst themselves and other people hear it, and sometimes we just let it go by the wayside. But we shouldn't do that. If you hear anything in the Young Dolph case, you need to call authorities and let them know what you've seen or what you heard about this case. And let's kind of break that stereotype and break that chain of not saying anything when we see something that happens. We need to, if you see something, say something. And it's anonymous, so just, you don't have to even tell anybody that you're going to the authorities. Just call the number, from, I don't know, you could just get one of those burner sales, and call authorities and just let them know what you've seen or what you heard. So this is the number on the screen if you know anything about the Young Dolph incident. And guys, that's I just wanted to come on here and kind of talk about some of these cases. And like I said, if you guys see this on the restream, just let me know what you think about these stories and what your opinions are. If you think that the non-guilty verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse case was a good call or not, and what do you think about Travis McMichael's testimony and the Ahmaud Arbery trial? And what do you think about the all the Black pastors coming together and initial support for Ahmaud Arbery's family? And what your thoughts are about the Young Dolph um, incident? So just let me know what you guys think about that. And I'm going to get out of here. And thank you guys. And you guys be safe and watch your backs. Yeah, have a good night.